OpenAI recently shocked the financial world by closing a historic $122 billion funding round, pushing its total valuation to a staggering $852 billion. They have nearly a billion weekly users and have become the global face of artificial intelligence. And yet, one of their most ambitious products, Sora, was suddenly killed. No warning, just gone. Even the Walt Disney Company reportedly didn't see it coming, despite having just committed a $1 billion equity investment into the technology. So what happened? Why kill the technology that was supposed to revolutionize cinematography? Today we follow the money, the secret legal battles with Hollywood estates, and the internal documents revealing a company desperate for narrative control. I'm Ethan Cole, and this is the deep dive investigation into the reckoning of OpenAI and the death of Sora. On March 24, 2026, OpenAI abruptly announced it was saying goodbye to Sora, its flagship video generation application. While initially heralded as a revolution that would end traditional filmmaking, the product was ultimately undone by structurally broken economics. At its peak, Sora's inference costs were estimated at a staggering $15 million per day. That is over $5 billion a year just to keep it running. The application, however, generated only $2.1 million in total lifetime revenue. The gap was wider than anyone in the industry expected. OpenAI's head of Sora, Bill Peebles, reportedly described the model's economics as completely unsustainable during internal strategy meetings. Every GPU hour spent rendering Sora videos was a GPU hour not spent on far more profitable tools, like ChatGPT Enterprise or their coding APIs. The collateral damage of this shutdown was massive, starting with one of the world's most powerful media empires, Disney. In December 2025, OpenAI and Disney announced a landmark partnership intended to be the ultimate proof of concept for responsible AI. Disney committed a $1 billion equity investment. In exchange, OpenAI users were granted legal access to over 200 iconic characters. For the first time, fans could legally generate short-form videos using characters from the Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars universes. But the partnership was effectively neutralized overnight. Disney executives were reportedly notified of Sora's closure less than 60 minutes before the public announcement. Disney exited the deal almost immediately. While they remain a major enterprise customer, the dream of a consumer AI cinema studio is dead. But cost wasn't the only ghost in the machine. Sora had become a massive content moderation liability. Intense legal pressure began mounting from the estates of major public figures who feared the technology's potential for deepfakes. The estates of Martin Luther King Jr. and Robin Williams both pushed for strict restrictions on the use of likenesses, leading to a legal quagmire. Simultaneously, Sora was becoming the engine for what critics called AI slop, massive quantities of content created with no regard for quality or truth. To contain the risk, OpenAI decided to fold Sora's capabilities directly into ChatGPT, ending its life as a standalone, high-risk consumer application. As OpenAI narrowed its focus, it began to turn its back on its former partners, most notably in the robotics sector. OpenAI had originally co-led a massive Series B funding round for Figure AI, a leader in humanoid robotics, back in 2024. However, Figure CEO Brett Adcock recently stated that the collaboration provided very little technical value to his team. Friction grew as Adcock cited difficulties in getting OpenAI's team into the office for critical real-world hardware testing. Behind the scenes, OpenAI was quietly re-establishing its own robotics division in San Francisco, which quadrupled in size in just 12 months. The lab now operates 24 hours a day, employing over 100 data collectors focused on teaching machines human-like dexterity. The focus has shifted from flashy bipedal movement to industrial embodied AI for mundane chores like folding laundry and loading dishwashers. OpenAI is now the lead investor in 1X Technologies, whose Neo robot uses an OpenAI world model to learn tasks just by watching video. Available for pre-order at $20,000 or a $499 monthly rental, Neo represents OpenAI's internal play to own the home. To fund these internal pivots and massive robotics expansion, OpenAI needed capital on a scale the tech world had never seen. On March 31, 2026, the company closed a $122 billion funding round, the largest private round in Silicon Valley history. This round was only possible after a massive revision to their Microsoft partnership, effectively ending Microsoft's exclusive rights. Notably, $35 billion of Amazon's investment is contingent on OpenAI either going public or reaching AGI by the end of 2028. Internal documents reveal that the companies debated a sufficient AGI benchmark, where AGI is verified if a model generates $100 billion in profits. The deal includes a commitment for OpenAI to spend $100 billion on AWS compute, powered by Amazon's custom Trainium AI chips. For the first time, OpenAI allowed individual retail investors to contribute $3 billion, building a shareholder base for what comes next. While the headlines focus on AGI, the actual battle is being fought in the corporate boardrooms of the Fortune 500. They've assembled a massive banking syndicate. While Goldman and Morgan Stanley lead, JP Morgan and Citigroup have joined for their distribution muscle. Targeting a September 2026 listing at a potential $1 trillion valuation, this would be the largest tech IPO in history. OpenAI is refocusing on the enterprise. They want to be the conversational operating system of the entire world. With tools like AgentKit, they are allowing developers to build digital employees that execute multi-step tasks across different business platforms. A key technical shift is the move to stateful runtime on AWS, allowing AI agents to maintain long-term memory for true office automation. The new app's SDK transforms the ChatGPT chat bar into a command line for the entire internet, embedding tools like Canva directly into the interface. But they are not alone. A fever-pitch coding war has erupted between OpenAI and its closest rival, Anthropic. In April 2026, OpenAI released GPT 5.5, which briefly took the lead on major coding benchmarks with a score of 82.7%. However, Anthropic's Claude Opus 4.7 has maintained a dominant lead in real-world software engineering, achieving a 64% score on SWE-Bench. By May 2026, more American businesses were paying for Anthropic than for OpenAI, with Anthropic capturing over 34% of corporate spend. Anthropic's Fast Mode specifically targeted the enterprise developer market, securing them a massive 50% share compared to OpenAI's 21%. With the IPO looming, narrative control has become OpenAI's most critical objective. They can no longer afford bad press. In April 2026, OpenAI acquired the TBPN podcast network, a controversial move aimed at securing a direct line to the tech community. Integrated into the strategy department under Chris Lehane, the acquisition is seen by analysts as an attempt to buy influence. The company is also consolidating its fragmented products into a unified super app to simplify the user narrative before the public offering. The goal is an absolute dominance of the AI conversation as they head toward their historic billion-dollar public market debut. But the question remains, can a company built on experimental research survive the brutal scrutiny of the public market? Insiders are already questioning if OpenAI is still in control of its own future, or if its investors are now the ones driving the car. Whether this next chapter ends in absolute dominance or a slow decline will define the entire trajectory of the AI industry. The future belongs to those who understand it first, and OpenAI is betting $122 billion that they understand it better than anyone else. The reckoning has only just begun. I'm Ethan Cole, and thank you for watching this FutureNerve original documentary. Subscribe for more deep dives into the strategies and secrets of the world's most innovative companies. I'll see you in the next one.